Alright guys, welcome back to another exciting tutorial. This is Fash. In this tutorial we want to dive into the concept of inheritance, and I don't want to waste much of our time. Let's just dive in and see how we can actually explain this code. I've actually typed this. It's just like more of repeating what how classes and objects really mean. So I decided to type all this code so that we just explain the line of code. You remember that we can create a class using class of person. I can use div init with self first name and last name, and make sure that you reference the first name and the last name so that I'll be able to use it in the object. Okay, so we created the function right in there. We give it a self parameter so that we'll be able to use self.first name so that we'll be able to pick the first name right from inside this place. Alright, so we created an object. We call it the first name and the last name, which is Fatai Ahmed. So because we want to make sure that this function display out this output for us, we use this object dot the name of the what function. Alright, so and it gives us the result. Let's now take, for instance, you want to create probably a class, another class that will inherit all these attributes. Okay, and that class is known as the child class. So if you want to do that, you can create it with using a class what keywords, call it student, and put this particular person inside this place. Automatically that means you have successfully what created an inheritance of all those objects. But trust me, if you don't want anything to happen, if you just want it to inherit all the character without any issues, without adding any other parameters in there, you use what is called pass. So if you should do this, that means all the attributes inside this place, this student has inherited, and that student cannot add any other extra what attribute because of the keyword pass that you use. Alright, so now the idea now is this. Okay, you can test it by saying std is equals to student James and Bond. So what happens right in here is that you have created an object for the student and you set your own parameter James and Bond. So if you are using the first name, it's not going to be displaying Fatah Ahmed. It's going to be displaying the his own what value. You know, when it comes to inheriting properties, inheriting properties is quite different from the real value. So property is the first name and the last name, but the value of the first name and last name is James and Bond. Alright, so take note of that. Alright, another thing I would like to explain to you now is that, okay, many times you might want to add some of your values to that class. So instead of that, you remove this pass and use what his own what init. So but the problem is that anytime you're using his own init, something terribly bad will happen, and that thing is, sorry I'm using this, and that thing is, you will not be able to use all the inheritance in the parent. And if you want to do that, definitely that means you have to go and call the parent class, use dot, and create its own init there that add the same value with this first name and last name. Alright, so once you do that, you will be able to use the property. But you know, as we move on, we realize that instead of using this person dot, you can use another particular method called super function. So what is super function? By using super function, you do not have to use the name of the parent element. It will automatically inherit the method and properties from its parent. So you don't need to use this again. Just type super with the function. Automatically it's going to work fine. So you can see the super dot init. So instead of you now to be using this self, you will not use self, you just call the properties, which is the first name and the last name. See how very cool this is. Alright, so the last but not the least is that you can easily now add some of your own properties. Let's say for instance I want to add age to it, which is here. I can add it to it with ease without stressing myself, and I can declare out the value in there, just as simple as that. So that is how to inherit from the parent. So what have we been doing so far? We understand the concept of inheriting basically, and we understand the concept of using init. And when you use init, you might find it very difficult to inherit until you use the parent name. So with init, so we now discovered that instead of using the parent init, you can use the super function, and that super function works very fine without the use of self. And the moment you do that, you can decide to add your own value to the another features to the child element, such as age. So this is where I'm actually going to stop for now. You can take your time to type all these codes, see how exactly it works, see whether you can get it right, and ask me a question in the comment box in the classroom. And I can't wait to have you in there. Thank you, and see you in the next tutorial. Bye.